Welcome to tonight's pre-recorded Zoom. It will be Thursday, August 7th, and we are working on the berry harvest. And we're going to do the project recipe and we're going to talk about the project playbook. So let's just take a look at the bundle. So, I think a lot of people are worried about this one because it's berries, but if you look at this, it's more than just berries. And there was some comments saying, is cherries berries, but there's, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, peaches, cherries, well as some doilies, some drinks, some cool pies, ice cream. So not just for canning. I think about our trips where we go to pick blueberries, right? Lots that you can use these for. And then they have like cool little berry embellishments also with the mats and the stickers. So again, not just to do, just think of a nice summery day, with a nice drink or a picnic would go really well. So this time when you bought the Buy It All bundle, you got the project playbook as well as the stickers, the papers, the embellishments. We also got the cardstock sampler this time, which is good for those that don't have cardstock. But if you wanted the Buy It All bundle and you weren't going to be doing the project playbook, you may not have needed all that. So I don't know if they're going to continue to do that, or is that just for this month. But you do get all the cardstock in here. There are 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 papers, and those are what you will need to complete the project playbook. And we're not going to do the playbook together. I just kind of want to talk about it. Lots of circles. You'll see sometimes we're only going to be using like a little tiny bit of this light blue, which is 5A, and I didn't write down where that one went to. It's probably on this page. Yes, it is. So it's on layout number 3. I'll go back and write that here. If you'd like more information about where they are all, I can let you know. Reach out to me. I can kind of help you create this. But it does complete 2 2-page projects and 2 1-page projects. And so I didn't create all of this as of yet when we came here. The other thing is the second beige cardstock, you're only going to use 1 punch. So if you have a scrap, you can use that. So just wanted to let you know that the cardstock sampler does create the entire playbook. You will, when you are done, you will have, I think a couple, 2, actually 1 more that we're going to use for the project recipe. So 3 sheets of paper, and I was actually thinking for one of these layouts, which would be, this is cranberry cardstock, 2 sheets of the red dot designer. You may get a way here of either just using cranberry cardstock or maybe welding it to save some of that other paper. It has the cans on the back so that you wouldn't be using it all. So that's kind of like really highlight on the project playbook, but let's get into doing the project recipe. So what I didn't do is talk about the 2 punches. So there is the can, and I don't have the name of what it is. This is the canning jars for the border punch, and then there's also a Build It canning jars, and it's really cool because you could make your can, and then it has the little top, and I didn't put this together, but let me see if I can get this up and get it in focus. So it is a 3-piece that you can create little jars and canning jars with the Build It punch. But I've already created this one time, and we're gonna do it a little bit different than what it says in the project recipe. You're supposed to use 1 sheet of designer for the left and 1 sheet of beige cardstock for the right. And then you need 2 designer papers, sorry, and 1 piece of cranberry cardstock. So just to go back and mention, Megan is the one that created the project recipe. Debbie Guest is the one that created the project playbook. But I want to show you the one that I did create already. And I used the cactus punch. And I actually, on this one, only used 1 sheet of designer paper. The rest is cardstock. So we're going to do that today also. We're going to just use 1 sheet of designer paper. So let me put this one away, and we'll bring out this one. And I have some extra pieces on the bottom that are stuck. Okay, let's get my cutting mats and let's do this together. Okay, kind of got some of my stuff together. So as I said, I'm going to use 2 sheets of white cardstock for my base. I have 3 sheets here of cardstock and a shimmer because I don't know which ones I want to use. And I only have 1 sheet of designer paper. So I'm going to be able to create this whole layout using only 1 sheet of designer paper. And you can see where I've used it here. So the designer paper is up here and here, as well as here, and a little piece here. So make sure that if you're going to try to do this with 1 sheet of paper, that you like both sides. And this one is great because it is just this light gray check. So it's going to be perfect for this. You're going to need a punch. So either an edge style punch is the best because we're going to cut and make these frames here, as you see, for the pictures that are going to go in. And let's take a look at this one. So our 4x6 pictures, and I have to get it underneath here. Here we go. This one's not totally attached. Your 4x6 pictures will line in here with a little bit of overlap. So it's always good to have one. You could use a chain, that's fine, or a knockout, but this one kind of fits. And again, these ones are attached. I can't get it underneath, but I will. That's where I was planning on putting them, as well as up here. So I still am going to use the canning jars. So let's get started in cutting. So I'll put down my 2 white base sheets. And the first one we're going to do is your designer paper. So I am going to use designer paper number 1 will be my blueberries. Where it says designer paper number 2, I think I'm going to use Island Waters. It's either going to be Island Waters or this green. Because when you looked at the paper package, if you always want to know what papers go with it, it did say Island Waters. But I think in this one, this is Starry Night Shimmer. I'm thinking I want these 2. This one I don't quite like enough, so I might use the green. And so my cranberry cardstock for 3, I'm going to use Starry Night. So let's get here and cut this paper number 1. So A and B, if we look at where A and B are going to be, they are just these 2 little strips here. And then the rest, one of them we are going to be using the blueberry side, and one we're going to be using the beige. And maybe in this one, because that beige, is it going to show up enough on the white? Or maybe I should change this maybe to a beige, but beige cardstock for the back. But we'll see when we get there. So this is non-directional. I do like it this way though, so I'm going to cut it with this side up. First we're going to need is 2 1/2-inch strips. And I always cut those, as you know, on the right hand side. So that's 1 and 2. And then I'm just going to cut this in half at 5 1/2. And again, I said mine was non-directional, but one of these papers is going to go this way. So if you did have a direction, you may have wanted to turn your paper sideways to cut it, but mine's good. Actually, I think I'm going to put it that way. So I have 1 on each side here. So let's just lay this out so we have a look at what it's going to be. This will come here. This is going to go up here for later. We'll have the beige, and then we're going to have a little piece of the blueberry there. Okay, so now let's take a look at what we're cutting. The next one is just mats. So why don't we leave the mats till the end? Because if you're not cutting them, we won't do that. It's all mats. So let's go down to where I was going to do this blueberry, my Starry Night. What we're going to do for L is we're going to cut it at 5 1/2 by 12. It says punch the border, then cut, because otherwise you may not have enough paper. So a lot of times it says cut, then punch, or it says punch, then cut. This one is going to say punch the border, then cut on all of them. Punch border, then cut to 1 1/2. Okay, so let's do this first one. 5.5 by 12, punch the border, then cut. I'm going to move this so I can use this white piece of cardstock to pick up my little scraps. So we are going to cut this we're going to punch our border first and just lining it up. This one's pretty easy one to use. I don't think that it gets caught very much like some of them do, especially the cactus gets caught because of those little cacti. Okay, so now we'll get rid of these. I guess if you were doing different colors, you could keep these little inserts because then you could put them back with a different color if you wanted. So if you wanted, you could keep the little inserts. Okay, so now it says we are going to cut it at 5.5. So again, 5.5 is right along the side here. So we're going to take the largest of our cans and we're going to line it up at 5.5. And we're going to cut that. And that's going to go on the left. So we'll just put it on that side for now. Now, M and N, it says punch the border, then cut to 1.5, and then cut it at 6. So let's punch a border. And what you can do to save time is we're going to cut both sides of this. Out of the way here, and one more, and then I'm just going to rotate this and I'm going to cut this edge, and then we're going to cut both of them at 1.5. Then we'll be done with the punch. Okay, so I'm going to get this going here. Make sure you're lining up, and I'm caught on that. Okay, so I'm going to take that, put it away, and let's cut both of these at 1.5 to the tallest, and we'll hope that we have enough paper left over in the middle. So that's one, and we'll cut this one at 1.5. It's 2. Now we're going to rotate these and cut them at 6 inches. So it says here, punch border, then cut to 1.5, and then trim at 6. So let's see, I'm going to line these both up together, so then they'll be all the same, hopefully. Let's see where our 6 inches comes to. It's going to come right in the middle of that big one. Just want to take a look at the project recipe. Yep, see, here's our cut right in the middle of that big one. So let's make sure I have these lined up, because I would like them to be exactly the same when I cut them. 6 inches. Now, if you're looking for this project recipe, it is in my VIP Facebook group, not on my Scrapbook with Denise. These are done in my customer Facebook group, but I do share them with everybody. So just reach out to me and I'll let you know how to get there. Okay, this should be more than 3 inches, and it is. So we need 2 1.5 inch pieces. So I'm going to close this up. Make sure you put your little foot down so it doesn't get stuck. So we will have 1.5 and another one at 1.5. And we may or may not need these. I'll show you what they're used for. And then we have a little piece left. And then we're going to cut them down to 3 3/4. So I'll line them back up again. And we will cut these all at 3 3/4. And I think on my last one, I didn't use these on my last one. And actually a couple of them, because I lined them up, I cut them at one of them, some of them at 3.5. So 3 3/4. 3 3/4, and one more. Get that out of the way. One more at 3 3/4. Okay, so let's get this together and see. Again, we didn't cut the mats. I'm going to have to cut those. So let me get this all put out, and then I want to see which color I'm going to use. So we will put this back. So if we turn the project recipe over, we'll line this up. And this blue one is going to go on top here. And this one is just going to be a little border underneath. Kind of put them on a shelf. So and we're going to have a little bit, looks like we are going to be 1/2 inch from the bottom. Okay, perfect. And then we have this one, and then these ones. You're going to have one left over. So they're going to go here at the top, and you can alternate them because you'll see you'll have two that have this in the side, or if you've got cardstock, you can turn them over and put them all the same way, however you want to have those on the shelf. Now these pictures over here are not matted, and you might not see this very clearly, but this is the picture. I mean, your picture. And so this will fit. And they're supposed to be 6 by 3 3/4, and I have 6 by 4s I'm putting in here, so they're supposed to be cut down a little bit. But if you didn't want to, you could always just put the jar over the bottom of the picture. So that's where those are going to go. And I said you have one left over. Make sure you use your repo when you're attaching these. Okay, so now what we need to do is cut our mats. So let's see what I think. This green, oh, I think, these pictures are going to be, I think some of them are 6 by 4. Now I'm torn between the green or because you're going to have 3 mats here, and you're going to have 3 mats over here, right? 6 by 4s, and your 5 by 3.5s are going to go here, and your 6 by 4s are going to go here. So this is actually, I thought I would like the green more, but I think I'm liking Island Waters. And if I change my mind, I can always use the 6 by 4 mats on another project, so I'm not worried about that. So I am going to use Island Waters. So we're going to go 6, and then we're going to rotate this and cut them by 4. 1, 2, 3. And this is, again, a great one for using peekaboo pockets, which I want to have time maybe next week to do a recording on. Then we're going to cut this one at 5, have some left over, and we're going to cut this at 3.5. 3.5, 3.5, and then we're going to have this piece that's 1.5. We're going to rotate it and cut it at 4. Okay, so let's put the rest of this together, and I'll show you what we're going to use those for. Okay, so we will have our 5. This is H-I and J, our 5 by 3.5, and with that gingham kind of pattern, it's easy to line these all up. And then our 4 by 6s. I'm liking how this, and I'm going to use this for when we went to the Blueberry Festival. Then you drink blueberry drinks out of the mason jars, so it will be perfect. So this is going to go right here. This one here is for a little journaling box. And oh, see what she did down here? I was wondering where this N came from. See these 2 little jars here? She actually used this one and fussy cut 2 of them out of here to put down here on this little journaling box. Okay, so that's the project recipe, and actually I'm liking the Island Waters. So what she did, and again, you can see on this page, I didn't use these little ones that go behind, and what they do is they go, and that's the ones I cut too short. they go behind here to accent this a little bit. So let me show you how it would look on this side. Liking the colors. I'm liking the colors. So what they would do is they would go behind here. And I would attach them first. It only sticks up a little bit. So let me get my repo and let's put some on here so that you can see how those would work. I'm just going to put repo on both sides. Let me bring this up more into the camera here. And I'm going to line those up, and all it's going to do is bring a little bit of border. So it's not an entire double matte, but it's adding a little bit more color. See to that? Let's do them all so we can see how they look. So we will do the other two. You're going to have to spend a little bit more time lining them up properly. Mine probably won't be exact, which is why I'm only putting a little bit of repo on right now, so I can spend the time to get them exactly where I want them to be. And you know what? I'll leave one plain so that you can kind of see. And if we just had this one. So it just adds a little bit and brings a little bit more blue of our, the starry shimmer. Starry night shimmer into there. And I actually do like it on this one. Because it's just a light pattern underneath. And I am liking the white cardstock background instead of using two. So this was really good. We only used one sheet of designer paper, 4 sheets of cardstock, 2 for your base. And if you were scrapbooking right in your book, you would just do it right in your book and you would only need 3 sheets. And then here, I just, maybe I should put it there. I don't know. I'm going to wait until I go to Arizona and have my pictures. So that is the Berry Harvest project recipe. And based on if you're doing the entire project playbook, you'll have 3 sheets of paper, minimum 3 sheets of paper left over. You could get 2 more spreads done with this, and I'll show you again the ones that I had left over really quickly, because I think these would make a really cool page also with the strawberries. Oh, I have strawberries and cherries left. And the backs, see, the backs are very plain. So you would have cherries with the red gingham and the strawberries with the yellow. This would make a really nice contrasting page. So hope that gave you some ideas of how to use the Berry Harvest for either with the berry collection or with any collection. And I'll bring back out my cactus one. I mean, this one's going to be fun for when we go to Arizona. So thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, please reach out, leave me a comment. Would love to chat. Again, Project Recipe is on my VIP group for my customers. As soon as you order from me, make sure you ask for access to that group, or I will automatically add you. And thanks again for joining me. Happy scrapping. We'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.